What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and today we're talking about the Formula 1 season opener of the Australian Grand Prix. What a race it was for about 27 laps, but, you know, hey, it's Formula 1. You take what you can get. As expected, the 2017 Ultra Super Mega High Downforce cars resulted in approximately zero passing at all. Even with the help of DRS, it was still a challenge to make a pass. Although I will say this, in defense of DRS, my goodness, that's actually a phrase I had to use in a video here. Melbourne hasn't been one of those tracks in the past where DRS is ridiculously strong to the point where it is insta-pass as soon as the driver engages it. So we'll see how that plays out next race at China, where they have that, 10-mile long straightaway into that hairpin, because, that's how all the circuits are these days. So we'll see if it plays out there where there's actually maybe a slight hint of passing, but in Australia, yeah, not so much. Although I will also say that Australia generally does kind of end up being one of those races where there's not all that much going on in terms of wheel-to-wheel action, but there's a lot of strategy and shenanigans that happen, but I think that's more so just because of its position on the calendar as the season opener. And no, that's not me saying I don't like Albert Park, because it's actually one of my favorite circuits on the F1 calendar, so don't be that guy who's all like, oh, you just hate it, because I don't. But as for the racing itself and, the result at the end, pretty straightforward, pretty standard, nothing too shocking. I think really the only thing that was surprising with the result, besides the strategy call, which is what I'm going to spend most of this video on, was just the fact that Honda's engine actually lasted. The retirement for Fernando wasn't engine related, it was suspension related. So somebody in Honda is going all na 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 boo boo, na 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 boo boo, your car sucks, it's not our engine, doing that only in Japanese. But very straightforward, very standard. So let's talk about that strategy that basically gift wrapped one to Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari. That's not to discredit what Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari did, because they were matching Hamilton step for step, lap for lap, and they were basically sitting right there as close as these cars are going to run to one another. But Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton definitely bungled this one from a fantastic position. Pitting at that juncture in the race from the lead, from a 1.5 second consistent lap after lap after lap, clearly not closing in any sort of serious danger, was absolutely a 2016 strategy to protect against an undercut by Sebastian Vettel by Ferrari. However, with the way tires have been wearing, it was a totally terrible decision. To me, it almost reeks of a car and driver which has not been tested in an actual meaningful race scenario for now several years. It just was boneheaded, to say the least. There was only one acceptable strategy for Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton, and that was to stay out and do one more lap than Sebastian Vettel. As soon as he comes into the pits on a quote-unquote undercut strategy, you tell Hamilton, box this lap. He turns the engine up, in all likelihood. He drives a little bit harder to get the last drop of life out of the tires, and that's basically that. There wasn't this massive wear gap as we've seen in past. In fact, if you look at the lap time charts, available post-race obviously, you can see that Hamilton's fastest lap after the pit stop cycle, basically, his first flying lap on the fresh rubber, was 0.6 of a second faster than what Sebastian Vettel had been doing, which was the same pace that Vettel had been doing when he was stuck behind Hamilton pretty consistently. That's a far cry from 1.5 seconds that Vettel would have had to make up to even get within, side-by-side distance of Lewis Hamilton through, a pit stop cycle going that way. Pitting that early had all of the downsides with none of the upsides. Even ignoring the fact that Hamilton wanted tires and the tires were so bad, all he needs to do is stay out there and the tires just need to not fail. That's all that needs to happen, and he likely wins this race. Now on the flip side, an absolutely brilliant, and I do mean brilliant, strategy call by Ferrari to keep Vettel out there, knowing that it was going to come good if they just ran more laps and gave it more time. It would have been very easy and very conservative, I guess, very straightforward and not a particularly aggressive strategy, to just go ahead and say, alright Vettel, well, Hamilton just made his pit stop. He's going to be running fast on fresh rubber. So therefore, if we want to stay in contact with him and make sure that we keep up with him, well, we need to pit now, so that way we're on the same strategy. But instead, they played to win, and they won because they played to win. Even at absolute worst for Ferrari, if assuming that Hamilton doesn't get stuck behind Verstappen, it doesn't matter. Vettel's still going to finish second because there's a giant gap to Bottas there at that point in the race, and that's basically that. Even with Hamilton's issues on the soft compound tires in the second portion of the race for him, I still don't think Vettel would have been able to pass him because that's just how these cars worked. I think whoever ended up in the lead after those first stops was going to win the race, and Mercedes bungled it. They absolutely bungled it, and at the same time, Ferrari played it brilliantly to actually ensure that they take advantage of this. So as the kids these days say, GG, too easy. And I also just want to say this, I know I'm not the only one who is really hoping Bottas was going to pass Hamilton in the last portion of the race to steal second position from Hamilton, because oh man, would that have been absolutely interesting and just added fuel to the drama that is Formula One. I mean, it's not even so much the racing that I watch Formula One for, it's not even so much the cars, it's almost kind of like a funny soap opera, only like manly soap opera, like, I'm not the only one, right? Anyways, that's my thoughts on the Australian Grand Prix 2017. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.